morning, YouTube, and welcome back to Jesse's Garage. We're excited to have you. If this is your first time, welcome. We're excited to have you join our channel. We're having all kinds of fun here at Jesse's Garage and doing all kinds of projects. In fact, we have quite a number of projects lined up. And as you've been noticing, if you've been watching for any length of time, they're varying all kinds of different ways. Tools of all sorts that we're reviewing, or tool finds and restorations and such like that. Well, today is another restoration type video. And so I had a gentleman, a beautiful, beautiful man. His name is Doug. And so some of us, we call him Dougie. And so that's just the kind of guy he is. He's just good to everybody. And he's an older gentleman. And he came by the house and he said, "Hey, I have a project for you. I'd like for you to do for me." And I'm like, "Sure, I love it. Let's do it. Anything for you, Doug, we'll do it for you." And so he dropped off something that he's had for quite a long time. He found it and he's held on to it, but he's never done anything. And he wants us to bling it up and to make it a wall hanger for him. So this is what he brought by, incidentally. And so when we look at this, he brought by this axe. Now, it's not just any old axe, incidentally. It's something. The reason why he held on to it, you'll notice there, that it is a Sears USA axe. And so remember when Sears was around? Sears isn't around anymore. So this is one of those goodies you're not ever going to find in the store again. And so he asked me to redo it. And so I asked him, "Well, what are your thoughts? What do you see? What's your vision for it?" And, you know, he was pretty open. So we have free reign to do whatever we want. I did run some ideas by him. So here's kind of the thought. The only thing he was wondering is if we could go through and clean up all of this black, and then we can go through and just polish it out. And so that was one of the things. And then again, when we look at that Sears, I don't know if you can tell or not, but it has some pretty good stamping on there. And so with the stamping that's so deep, the thought was, once we polish it up, maybe we'll throw some red enamel inside the lettering there and just make that pop. What do you think about that? Would that be good? And so we're going to do that. Now, he wanted to preserve the handle. I don't know if we're going to be able to preserve the lettering on there. We'll see. Maybe we can just do a real soft restoration on that. Most of it is gone, or a lot of it is gone anyways, but we're going to go through and try to polish this back up a little bit, and maybe we'll just go back natural. That way we can preserve that lettering if we possibly can. So that's kind of the plan. You see it has a little bit of damage on the handle back here. Looks like it got dropped or something like that, and the wood has mushroomed out just a little bit. And so we're no stranger to wood around here. As you've seen in my previous videos, I do all kinds of woodworking type stuff. So that should be an easy fix for us. So we'll see if we can kind of get that back in shape that way. All right, are you ready? Oh, one more thing he wanted, and I don't know if we're going to be able to do it, but let's see. I have some thoughts. I was brainstorming with another friend, and I just have some thoughts on this. But anyways, I was brainstorming with a gentleman named Kirk, incidentally, and I was telling him, "Hey, Doug's vision for this," and because he knows Doug as well. And so we were going through, and the handle, incidentally, is loose in here, so we're going to fix that part too. But anyways, I was talking to him about that, and one of the other requests that Doug had, he says, "My only other vision, if you can do it, is I want this edge to be razor sharp. I want to be able to have my arm and just shave my hair off of it. That's what I would like." And I told him, I said, "Doug, I'm not a knife guy. I don't have the tools to do a sharpening for that." But anyways, I was brainstorming with Kirk, and he gave me some really good ideas. So let's see if we can actually make this come a reality for Doug. So he gave me free reign to do whatever I want. So we're going to do it. Are you ready? Let's jump on in. Okay, we are back. So now we got some of our parts that are kind of laid out for us here. You remember our handle that we have. So we put some boiled linseed oil on it. And so we're going to put a few more coats before we give it back to Doug. So we're hoping that he's really going to like it. Remember, I had that big old flare out over here. So we got that down. It did leave a little bit of an indentation in here, or a missing piece, I should say, right down in this area. But we're trying to leave it as natural as we possibly can. And so it has a beautiful curve to it. So we love that. So we're ready to go there. Instead of going back with a really soft wood, I cut a piece of walnut, and we're going to put that as our wedge here on the top of the handle. Now, the part that we all been waiting for here, you'll notice as I go through, we have our handle that we have right here, or excuse me, the head that we have here, and you can see just how beautiful that is. And so if we come over here and look at it this way, so we can see that the Sears, we colored that in with some red, and the USA that's on there, we colored that in with red. And this is just a beautiful, beautiful head now. Now, one of the things that we did, now I don't think I could do this because I just don't sharpen things very much. So I took it over to a guy here locally, and my goodness, look at the edge that he put on that. Is that beautiful? Look at the contrast that's there. And so I told him, I said, Doug wants this thing like razor sharp. It'll cut some hair on his arm. Well, I'm not willing to try to do the whole hair on the arm thing, but I think it's pretty sharp. So we're going to test it out as we get going here after we put it together. But anyways, this is, we're getting my fingerprints all over it, but this is how it turned out. Now, one of the things about this axe head, incidentally, when we started to go through and work on it, it was all black, if you remember. Everything was black on this. And so when we looked at it, boy, there was a lot of imperfections. In fact, you can still see just a few of them right there. But what I didn't want to do is take the risk of grinding down too much and then making it too thin. Because you'll notice even on this portion of the head right here, this side is thinner than this side on that top of that head. And same over here. It's thinner over here than it is over here. Now, that's the way it came, so I didn't want to run the risk of making it too thin, that when we put in that wedge, it can create a crack in it. So we just left it as is. So anyways, that's a little bit about what we have going on. So let's go through and see how it fits. We can see that, man, look at that. That just fits beautiful, doesn't it? Sorry, bumped the camera there. And so as we get going, we're going to try to put this in here just a little bit. So I'm going to try to get this in the camera. And so notice that's where our wedge is going to go. And so we're going to put that in here just like that. And then we're going to try to hammer that portion in that way. And so we're going to try to make that go in as much as possible. Now this is seated all the way down at the bottom here. So that's not going to go any further because that's the way it came. But before we do that, let's go through and get a little bit of glue on this bad boy here. And then we're going to get a little bit of glue inside that groove, and away we go here. So put a little bit of glue on this side, and then get my little handy dandy brush here. We're just going to brush it all throughout, try to get this thing coated nicely, so that way it'll have the best opportunity to stick as much as possible here and glue itself into that handle. So there's one that we have. So I'm going to set that down for just a moment. And then we're going to come inside the handle area. See if we can get this set down without making a mess. And we're going to put a little bit of glue right in here. Now remember, when we got this was loose, and you can tell this was loose. So I didn't do anything on the top portion here because I didn't want to make it worse at that point. So we just kind of left it, and it's a pretty loose fit anyways. And so we're going to put a little bit of glue on top of that. And then we're going to get our wedge, and hopefully you can see all of this in camera. So we're going to come in here and do this portion here. So I have on top of my little CNC table these little holes. So we're going to try to get this nestled into that, so that way you can kind of see me trying to put that in there. Now I got just a little rubber mallet here, a little hammer that we're going to go through and try to get that in there. So let's see how it goes. All right, so we're kind of getting that in place there. Now it's starting to split just a little bit, but it's we're getting down to that area. And so notice that handle is nice and tight now. This thing isn't moving, but we're not done. We're gonna keep going. So before I do that, let me go get a piece real quick of wood, and then we're gonna pound on that. So give me 1 second here. Okay, so we're back. And so now I'm going to take this piece of wood, I'm going to hold this up there, and then we're going to try to get in there and try to pound that in a little bit further, right? And so, in fact, I'm going to take it this way because I don't want to put my hand against that sharp edge over there. So we're going to take it, and then we're going to try to knock it in there. I can tell that thing's sharp, by the way. All right, here we go. So. Okay, so now we have that, right? And so as you can see, that's what we're looking at. And the whole point is we want to make this thing just about as tight as we can get it. So that part is done now. So we're good there. We're going to take off some of this glue, just try to wipe some of that away just a little bit. In fact, on the other side of my little brush here, I have this little end that I can scrape some of that away. And that'll make it easier and faster to dry as well. All right, so get that part cleaned up. We have that wedge in there. Like I said, that bad boy's not moving for nothing. Now remember, Doug, he's wanting to use this as a wall hanger. So he wanted to display the whole Sears aspect there. Okay, we'll let it dry and we'll be right back here. Okay, so we're back over here at the buffing area. So we went ahead and cut this part down. Sorry about my lighting over here, it's not the best. We cut it down. I put a few scratches in it when I was trying to get it sanded down a little bit. So now we're coming back over to the buffing area to see what we can do. So let's give that a few whirls and let's see what happens from there, okay? So now we have our black compound, which is more of our coarse, and then we have our finer compound. And so I already did the black. So we're going to come over here, turn it on, and do a little bit of our green, and away we go. Let's try it. Okay, so we got that kind of buffed down just a little bit. Of course, I didn't do very long. Just going to try to test it out and see where we're at. So I'm going to wipe it down all this compound just a little bit, and then wipe down the top and make sure that we're still in good condition here. So as we go through and look at it, it's not perfect, but it never was perfect to begin with anyways. But when we look at it, it's pretty doggone nice. So in fact, I might be pretty happy with what we have here. So we'll see. We'll kind of keep playing with it and then kind of go from there. All right, we'll be back here at the end of the video. All right. All right, and we are back. And so I got some gloves on because you know me, remember in the past videos, I always get fingerprints all over it. So I want to make sure I don't get fingerprints on this one. And so as we go through, check it out. Man, how beautiful is this thing? It just turned out gorgeous, didn't it? And so if you look at that Sears USA that's on there, highlighted in red, and then that mirrored finish that we have there, how beautiful did this thing turn out? Now remember, it was all black. And then the handle was kind of grungy a little bit. So we cleaned that all up. We put some boiled linseed oil on it. We've got a few more coats to go on that. But then we went through and cleaned it all up and put this mirror finish. And man, I got to tell you, we went through some sandpaper. So we went through the polishing belts. We went through sandpaper, polishing compound, and the whole 9 yards, and wet sanding. And man, Doug, I think you owe me a lot of sandpaper because I think I went through a lot of sheets here. But I'm just messing with you. But as we get going, I mean, look at the finish. Man, it turned out real nice. Now, it's not 100% perfect because actually underneath that black, there was a lot of imperfections there. So we kind of took it down as far as we thought we probably could. And so it left a little bit of character in it. But I think that's what makes it so beautiful. And so even on the back end, even underneath, everywhere you look, this bad boy is nice and ready to be hung on the wall. Oh, and don't forget, remember we put that edge on it. So we took it over to precision sharpening here in town, and man, look at that. He did a fantastic job on that. It's beautiful. And so thank you so much. We really appreciate you for doing that part. So Doug, this thing is ready for wherever you're going to display it. You can hang it proud, I think. And if you don't like it, give it back. I'll hang it proud in my shop. All right, friends. So there you go. If this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe. Make sure that you hit that like button. We really appreciate your help growing the channel. It's amazing, when we started this video, we were probably at 500 something. Now, this morning, I think I woke up, we're at 630 something. And so we're putting the finishing touches on this. I wanted to try to get this out before Super Bowl comes out. So we're going to try to push it out sometime Saturday and try to make that happen. But Doug, I really hope you like it. And so friends, thank you for sticking with us on this project. And until next time, we'll see you on the next one.